Neoteric, hopefully you learned a word, but it's also the name of the first company I ever worked for, straight out of college. And they were a computer services company. I was a marketer and a business person. So I went back to school, back in the golden days of computing, and yep, I learned job control language and carried around these cards and hoped I didn't drop the shoebox, which I didn't. So Neoterics was bought by CTG. They moved me to Buffalo, and there I was in sales and marketing and worked with IBM selling conversion services to Fortune 1000 organizations in the Northeast United States. And then there was WOV, and then there was marriage, and then there were babies, and I was flying all over the country about 5 days a week and decided to stay home with my babies. Couldn't stay home with them too long, so I went back to Tri-C and gravitated toward technology again. And the first class I took, I thought it was just a computer class, but it was a pre-graphic design course. So I started building my skill set. And like many of you who are designers, we had to interpret the alphabet. So I would say this is the answer to my first graphic design piece, and this is my L. Before too long, my husband said, if you really want to do this, let's get going. So I used my marketing and sales background and started working on media kits for Penton Publishing and did a lot of that kind of work. Design is a lot of problem solving. This is an architectural firm in Cleveland. They're still around. They still use this identity kit. And they were losing business because they weren't standing up visually next to the other guys. So I was really proud of this work. And in addition to the art, I helped them with proposal outlines because I did a lot of that work. You know, good design is not a trick. It's a lot of due diligence, process, and research. And if you follow that process, you can do it for goat cheese makers or cardiovascular people. So my philosophy is, if you want to be a rich designer, take the money and run. If you want to be an award-winning designer, please yourself. But if you want to be a great designer, please the audience. With those skills and my experience, I found myself at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History for 9 years, where I was the creative services manager and produced all of the external visual communications in the marketing department. And this is really where I kind of started branding, and where even though I was in one organization, there were a lot of different aspects of the organization. So I started learning color palette work and pulling sets together to communicate even for event sales. We were always communicating to donors, so a lot of invitations, a lot of creative work that just tried to communicate what we were up against. A lot of what you'll see here are Laura's photography. And even large format banners are still graphic design problems that can be solved, but your real heroes are the people who are printing them and installing them. Process and production makes you look really good or bad. So now, fast forward, I'm with the Market Farm, along with my husband. He's a word guy, I'm the visual gal. What we do is tell our customers stories. He tells them in a beautiful way. In fact, one of the first things we collaborated together on was Explore magazine, which is a membership magazine at the museum. And he did the feature articles, and I was the designer for the museum. So I looked at this as the first collaboration. Again, using a lot of Laura's photography. Design is process. So now what we're doing is a lot of website and identity work, even for psychologists. But I continue to keep the same process. I always start with the style guide and move from there. One of our clients, we are their marketing department, and they needed some rebranding. And I went in and redid the logo. This is last year's annual report. You can see that style guide in the background of just about everything I do. We're doing the same thing for the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. And I think what we bring to the table that's different, especially for nonprofits, you know, they want to redesign, they want to freshen their look, a new logo. A lot of people end up paying a lot of money at the beginning. And what we do is we say, no, listen, we can rebrand you over the course of a year. We'll start with your annual fund. We'll do your annual report. We'll do your membership brochures. So that way they're not spending that upfront money, but they're still, over a course of time, getting rebranded. And that's what I do. Thanks for listening. I still consider us to be neoteric because we do bring new ideas and practices to our customers. So if you see yourself here, hand me your card. Glad to talk to you.